This is a Metahuman. Let me just show you. I can move the keyboard out of the way. I can place it just here. It was introduced by Epic Games, of course, for game development purposes, but for the past year, I've been quite cheeky because I've been using the technology in order to present clothing for my brand. And it has completely changed the way that I think. I no longer have a limitation. Whatever comes to my mind, I just shit it out. But there is a problem. Check what happens when I do this. If I grab the camera, the character stays in the same position. And this is exactly what I want to change. I want to make sure that I can keep my character in the same place in the real world. Let's see what I can do. This face, yeah, I realized how much this would actually cost. It turns out that what I need is to be able to just track my camera in 3D space. Every single visual effect relies on this very simple trick. If you know exactly where your camera is in the real world and what focal length you're on, you can use that information to create your CGI elements, then bish bash bosh, you just add them on top of your original image. To figure out your focal length, just look at the lens. But to know where the camera is in space, now that's the tricky part. Let's see how the big dogs do it. They build a huge studio and place an array of specialty cameras, which analyze where the real camera is. Expensive, and no wonder film budgets are the way that they are. Here's how the nerds do it. You might have heard this phrase, fix it in post. It means that you can actually look at the footage itself without the computer ever knowing where the camera really is. Unless you do this. Yeah, so the second you move the camera too fast, this technique no longer works. Also, you cannot be filming towards a white wall, you cannot be filming towards a very uniform color, you have to have very clear contrast in your image. Again, very limiting. Here's another idea that I want to try, and it involves this fucker here. I move it, you can see it on screen, it's also moving. But what happens if you turn the headset around? Now it no longer works, it has no idea where it's at. And that's a big issue because I like to have a space where I can move. Let's see if we can find something that's actually somewhere between Hollywood and using this VR, which, by the way, I purchased because I am developing something extremely exciting for Garment. Maybe come see it when it's done, in a year from now. Don't mark my words because it might not happen. Okay, for now, I'm feeling rather discouraged and I might give up on this idea. Look at the timeline. If it continues, then it means that I've succeeded. Spoiler, it's tomorrow. And I think I might have just found the perfect solution. But first, a quick stop at the atelier. Andrada, say hi. These are the Tiozao, a pair which implements the pocket bags with the zipper fly design. So I pretty much took this design from here and applied it to both sides. And the zipper, it lives outside of the trousers. And for the zippers, in order to make this work, we had to go for the YKK zippers. Back in the juicer, because of all of the creative juices. Remember HTC, the guys that used to make Android phones? Well, apparently, they've been developing these. And the story behind it is quite interesting, because they were not created to track cameras, but rather bodies. You place them on your feet, and they allow you to dance in VR with a bunch of strangers, which is, yeah, I guess, very niche. What I'd like to know is if I can just grab one of those trackers and place it on top of the camera. Remember the research from yesterday? This is what it looks like. You go free, you have to do a lot of work. You go expensive, you go broke, but you have to do no work. It would also place me in crippling debt. So I guess that the Vive tracker, if I somehow got it to work, would fit right here, in between. Now look at this idiot. He's about to spend the entire marketing budget on an idea which he doesn't know if it's gonna work. Subscribe and like it, please. And now that I have a solution for the camera tracking, well, I still have to do a lot of work. I didn't actually need all of those papers, I used just one, but the frame looked nicer. Let's have a look at the ingredients that we're gonna require. First, design the fit. This is super exciting because I know exactly what I want the avatar to be wearing. Apparently, Acne Studios has been in the kitchen. Yeah, I've been watching way too many cooking shows, sorry for using all of those analogies. I love this one here, and I'm gonna try and recreate it for the masterclass. Kinda has a Balenciaga vibe, let's just be fair here. I'm just gonna boot up Clo3D and let's see what I can do. In this tutorial, which should be live on YouTube by the time this video is out, I wanted to try something completely different. I wanted to see if I could design the pair just by looking at the simulation. Say your kid came up to you one day and asked, "Papa, I wanna learn photography." Which one would you give him? The 70-year-old analog camera or the iPhone? The technique that I just proposed is the iPhone, because I started from a square and I've shown you exactly step by step how you want to shape the pants. Only after you understand how patterns are actually constructed, you can graduate to this and become the next Annie Leibovitz. After just a couple of hours of working on this, I actually have the pattern for them. All that I have to do now is to send the pair over to Andrada. She's gonna print it out, start cutting, sewing. I'm gonna head over to the atelier again and top 3 features. First of all, the thread was not painted on. Then there's the paint itself, this top stitch here. And you might be asking, did you actually have to do all of that? Well, yeah, because Andrada did a lot of artistry actually, painting them, and I wanted to capture that. After scanning the pair of trousers, I'm able to translate the paint back inside a clothes. I'm not gonna do it. Next step, dress the avatar. I'm gonna boot up Unreal Engine and bring in my Metahuman. This here is my fat face. I've scanned myself and it looks absolutely ridiculous. But for the past year, people have been absolutely thirsting for Isaac. I decided to just use a Mixamo animation. And if I wanted to actually capture this in the real world, I don't think I would be able to. You need both a suit and skills to dance. Neither of which actually have. Those are my dance moves. I want to bring in the Udite vest plus the Alex bomber. I'm gonna start now dressing the avatar, but if you've ever used Clo before, you're gonna know that this is not super easy. Adding multiple layers on top of one another is gonna screw up the simulation and it's a nightmare. Sun's out and this is all I have for now. This is the part where Instagram exaggerates a lot. They make simulations look as if, oh my god, I'm pressing the spacebar and the character is fully dressed. Nope. You've been working on it for days, if not weeks, or maybe even months if you're doing an entire collection, and people start commenting, oh my god, AI is so cool. I waited for the simulation. The whole of last night everybody was at the club and I was waiting on the... Yeah, exactly. Design takes a lot of time. And balls. Yeah, feel free to use this quote, whatever. Because you could be doing something else, but no, you're there. You're fully committed, you want to see the vision come through. Okay, so a quick recap. Design, fast. Lewis Hamilton 2019. Simulation, very slow. Nikita Mazepin, his whole career. It's 1 a.m. Fuck am I doing? It's tomorrow. Again, I gotta head over to the atelier because Andrada has prepared a prototype for me. Ta-da! Top 3 features. The wall itself, then you have the loop here at the back. Uses a magnet and it snaps in place over there. These also arrived. 200, 130, 130, 130, 130, 200. If you're in the US. Actually paid a lot more. Here's how the system works. Those 2 devices are called base stations and they emit light. This one here receives the light. And based on how far it is from this device, it simply positions itself in space. And the most exciting part is this, a screw hole. It allows me to position it on the camera and it's gonna stay there. And all that's left to do is to figure out a way to mount everything and bring it here, where I'm gonna be filming. Before going to sleep last night, I let the simulation run. And now I'm seeing the... I don't know what Chloe's been smoking, but it's not meant to look like this. It spent the whole night simulating and I was super hopeful that it would be good, but it crashed. So I'm gonna attempt to shut it down and hopefully I can just recover it. And if not, I'm gonna see you never. This video is not getting posted. Really, dog? Yeah, the simulation worked, so I'm gonna enjoy it. Hey! I got a bit of a problem here. By flipping the collar, I think it kind of works. Computer is all set up in the kitchen next to the extra virgin olive oil. And now, for the rest of the production, I'm gonna move in the opposite side of the house where I'm gonna be planting the cameras and the trackers. And I also need to tidy it up a bit because there's a lot of mess, so... My plan is quite simple, just move everything out of the frame. For now. One of the base stations is right behind me, you can see it in frame there. Then I have the next one just here. So they're basically looking at one another. Now I'm grabbing the tracker. I'm looking for the USB port because I want it to always be facing the same way, towards the lens. Ideally, we want to be using this positioning as reference for every single project from this point onward. You can't see what I'm doing, but I just placed it on and yeah, it's here. Look, I'm touching it. Pinky promise. It works, so check this out. Look at this idiot. He forgot to turn on the screen recording, so there's nothing to check out, aside from his cringe moves. I'm just gonna let it play. Before I do my shot, I have to make sure that I'm calibrating the space. So I want to grab a tracker, position it on the floor. I want to position one where I know my character is. The more trackers that I actually go and scan the place with, the easier my job is gonna be in post. I'm gonna start doing that now, calibrating the space, and then I'm gonna record my take. As a point of reference, I want to make sure that I position my character here. I know that the chair is here. I don't want the character going through the chair. I'm gonna hold it here for 2 seconds or so, move it here. I don't want it going through this. I think that's gonna be it. We're pretty much ready. Whoa, whoa, and boom. Before I leave, there's a final step to do. Is it a fat joke if I'm the one saying it? I know it looks kind of weird, but I was just capturing the lighting in the space. I'm just gonna have to bring the disc down. Halfway there. The tracker lives on top of the camera and it is being tracked. But we don't have any idea where the sensor is inside of the camera. We're gonna have to go through some extra steps in order to figure it out. In Blender, I know that this is my camera here. If I press space, I can see it moving, and I know that I was moving with it. Then I grab the tracker, which, let's look at the footage, and I placed it right in front of the lens. You can see the tracker here, the camera is here somewhere underneath the tracker. We're gonna have to pretty much position the sensor and make sure that we're lining everything up perfectly. Of course, a new problem popped up. I don't know why this is happening, but the footage looks very bad. These two are the markers I set up for the ground. But if I press play, check what happens. One of them is actually jumping all over the place. And I have no idea why. The same thing could be happening to the camera. So it could have some extra motion. I'm gonna try to bring the character in, stay optimistic, and hopefully not have to go through the record. It didn't work. Now I have to move everything back down again and do another take. I think I finally have it now. So let me just re-import, make sure I align the camera, and I don't know. After working so hard gathering all of those ingredients, I can finally place them together in a bowl and go back into the kitchen analogies. Wanna know why the smug face? Because I think it worked. Look at it. Oh, wait! How crazy is that? Oh, no shit! He turned into a cube? While the system is extremely precise, it does have a huge problem. Here's its kryptonite. The vibration. The computer knows that this piece is static, but what if it isn't? What if it's vibrating? Well, then the character is gonna start vibrating as well. In order to get it to work properly, I just have to mount the cameras to the wall, which, again, limitation. I feel like there's so much that I could improve just by making sure that the base stations are not vibrating all over the place and doing the calibration just a tiny bit better. But since I'm already knees deep in this exploration, why don't I also try the nerdy version? You didn't think I was just gonna recommend that you spend 1,000 euros to get this shot. That would be completely irresponsible. So I just took another scooter ride and I captured this shot here. And I'm gonna use it with the manual camera tracking technique, which I hate. But I'm willing to do everything for that watch time, so enjoy. So here's my shot. I want my character to be huge. I want it to be walking from this building here, jumping onto the next one. It stumbles and it falls. But here are the issues. I don't have many points on the ground that I can reference in order to know where the ground is. I don't know how tall this building is. I don't know how wide this building is. This is making the job almost impossible because scale is everything. Next time, plan for it. Make sure that you're actually covering more than you think you need. If it doesn't see the information within the frame, it's not gonna know what to do. I use this app called F-Spy, and this one basically exported out my camera. I then got the camera inside a Blender, and when I positioned it, the plane aligned perfectly with the floor. This green outline that you can barely see, it means that it worked. This represents the building where the character is gonna be jumping from, and I want to use the Metahuman again, and this time I'm implementing the ragdoll physics. Check what happens when I press space. Boom! Dude falls in between the buildings. That's exactly what I'm after. But it being a simulation, sometimes he falls all the way, sometimes he falls in between. I'm just gonna have to record a few takes and end up with the one that I like the most. Check this out. Boom. If anything can go wrong, it will go wrong. The guy who said that was probably into Clo 3D as well. All of the effort that went into dressing this avatar, which I just wanted to reuse this time as well, I have to do the dressing part all over again. It's 2 a.m. on a Saturday, but after seeing this, I can't even be mad. Just look at it. No system is perfect. If you want to have the full range of motion, this works. I'm happy with it. If you want to not spend any money, then the other solution works too. If you want complete control over your production and you have a huge budget, go with the Hollywood version of it. No matter what you decide to go with, you just have to know the limitations. And ironically, none of this matters. I got a crappy shot with this because I was just running a test. While when I went outside with just my camera, I had an idea. And that idea matters a lot more than the technology that you're using.